Good morning, everybody. Welcome to DuePoint this morning, and welcome to our development seminar on wealth creation. I'm going to spend today on a topic that I spent 9 years of my life studying, and I know that some of you in the audience have probably spent your entire careers doing, but for most South Africans, the vast majority of South Africans, really the vast majority, they never get any proper physical training on. I think for the vast majority of South Africans, in fact, they're very well trained at poverty, not at wealth. And so we could get them to do a lecture for us on poverty. But wealth today is what I want to do, not only for the group that's here, my early birds, but for the 3 pages of people we know who are booked around the country to watch us today, and also for the many tens of thousands that are going to come after this. The wonderful thing about DuePoint is that these development seminars are not just in the moment. You just happen to be here while we record it. It's going to be online, as you know, in our app, on a YouTube channel for years to come. And as I say, my hope and aspiration for this morning particularly is that this is something that people use into the next couple of decades and how to create wealth for themselves. Perhaps, hopefully, as part of that dream, we can see South Africans start to turn their financial positions around. So this morning is both going to teach you some things that I think you'll like, but it's also going to teach you some things that you're not going to like. In life, we know that we've got to make good decisions, and we will make bad decisions, and the good decisions are often the hard decisions. And this morning, we're going to be spending a lot of time looking at hard decisions when it comes to wealth creation, and it'll also then highlight to you why the vast majority of individuals around the world never become wealthy, because generally the vast majority of individuals are unwilling to make hard decisions. So let's get started. What I've tried to do this morning is I've tried to tell you, tried to summarize things down to bits of information that you can remember. I am covering everything as far as I know. I've had everybody in the office work through this on me, and we cannot think of something we've left out. If you think I've left something out, come and tell me afterwards. I'm pretty sure I'll tell you where it is in the presentation this morning. So let's start. There are 3 golden rules to creating wealth. Now, I am not talking about making cash. That's not what we do at DuePoint. Cash is not wealth. Cash is like water. I've told it to you before. It just pours through your fingers. I give you all 100,000 Rand this morning. By the end of July, it will be gone. And your position will not have changed. I'm talking wealth. That is life-changing income. Now, in order to make life-changing income, there are 3 golden rules. They're like gravity. They're like breathing. You cannot not follow them. There are no other ones. If you don't follow them, you stay poor. If you try and make up new ones, you stay poor. There are only 3 rules for the creation of wealth. The first one is you have to have multiple incomes. If you have one income, you will never be rich. You will never. You need to have at least 2 streams of income in your life. The second golden rule is you need to spend less than you earn. Most of you don't know how much you spend, and therefore you do not know whether you are spending less than you earn, but you will never get rich if you are always spending more than you earn. And then the third rule is you need to protect what you have. This is one that most people never do, and it is why most people stay poor. And in fact, it is why most people who you know got rich got poor even faster. You'll know that. You've all had a friend who was driving around in his Porsche when he was 27 and now is sleeping in your guest cottage or above your garage. You've got that friend, because he didn't do step number 3, protect what he has. So those 3 golden rules will be the thread that we run through this entire presentation with. Now, let's start with that first golden rule, multiple sources of income. So what are all the ways you can create income? All of them. I tried to see if there was another form, but I cannot think of another form. This is every way you can create income. All right, firstly, you can create active income. Active income is where you are involved in creating the income. Your job, for instance. You don't get any income unless you are there working. Okay? Commission. Commission is where most network marketing companies lie. You have to go out and sell things. You have to go to their warehouse and fill your bakkie with their stuff. Okay? You are working the whole time selling to people to buy your products to make commission. All right? That's where most network marketing is. Normal sales, if you've got a job where you're a sales guy, that's commission. You know you have to work hard to make that commission. Call center agents, you guys work on estate agents, you work for that commission. Most of the time you are losing money before you make money. Okay? Active income, and then starting your own business, small, medium enterprise. If you're going to get out there and start a business, you are going to work to make that income. Boy, do I know. All right. The second category of income, I have put it straddles actually this and this one, so that's why I've put it in the middle, is called investments. Now, investments, you can have both active and passive. You can actively be investing. That means every day you sit with your screens up and you're watching what the share prices are doing on the stock exchanges, both locally and internationally, and you're buying here and you're selling here, and then you're shorting here, and you're all sorts of things the whole time. You are actively investing, and then you get passive investments. Passive investment is where you put your money into an investment account that is managed by someone else or tracks the JSE without you having to do any work in it. Okay, so it straddles both investments. All right. Property is investment too. So some of you guys like to buy property. Generally, that's active investment. You've got to buy it, you've got to get a tenant in, etc., etc. And then buying and selling. Buying and selling is not like the retail store. That would be start your own business. Buying and selling is you've got cash and you go out and you buy the brand new Porsche GT2 RS, of which there's only 3 in the country, and there never will be more because it instantly gets more expensive the moment you buy it. Or you go and you buy the new Ming vase or the new Ladro statue, or that all have investment value in it. You know, someone say, I need to invest in a new car. That's not investing. When you buy a new car, 30% of the price drops off the moment you drive out the door. But if you buy the Porsche 919 Spider, you've now doubled your money. So you've got to know how to do it. Most individuals don't know how to do it. I see some of you recording me this morning. I don't mind, but let me remind you that this is going to be online straight after this presentation. You don't have to record me. We're doing the work for you. All right. And then the third form of income, the third category of income is passive. So we've got active, you've got to work for it. You've got investments that do both active and passive, and then you've got passive. Passive is where the income comes in without you having to do something. You don't have to do something. So you have in there rental income. You've got tenants all set up, and every month, without having to even talk to them, the rent comes in. Okay? That's the one form. You've got interest. That's your bank. You've got a big bank balance. You don't have to talk to the bank to give you interest every month. They just put it on your account if you've got interest. Same as your loan. If you've got a loan, they charge you interest. You don't have to email them. You know, you don't have to do anything, and the interest is coming in. And then annuity income, well, those are forms of businesses, forms of investments where the income comes in every month without you having to actively be involved in the creation of that income. I cannot think of any other form of income left in the economy. You can say to me, yeah, but I'm a prostitute. Yes, that's commission. You can say to me, yeah, but I run a church. That's your own business. You know, it's all in these categories. You're either actively involved in it, you're either passively involved in it, or you're a little bit of both. And these 3 categories are what you need to know. So now, if you were sitting here, if you were sitting before today going, how do I make money? How do I make more income? Here are the only 3 ways you can make income. They're the only 3. Everything that is out there falls into one of these sorts of things, okay? Schemes and scams, you know them well, active. They make you work and they make you put money in their bank accounts and then they take it away. Okay, all of these are in here. They're all in here. All right, so let's start here. Active. Let's have a quick look. Active, your first opportunity to create income, employment. You all know it. Most of you have got jobs. I'd imagine just about all of you. What does the job do? The pros of a job is it pays the bills. That's generally what it does. Most people like Brendan, don't tell me about DuePoint, I need a job. Why are they saying that? Because they want something that'll instantly give them $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month, you go to work for 30 days and they pay you $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, okay? Pays the bills. It's necessary to keep the economy going. Obviously, we need people in jobs so that we've got public transport, we've got stock exchanges, power plants, we need people working, obviously. And it's dependable to a point. People always want a job because they go, then I've got security. Guys, how much security have we got these days in our jobs? In South Africa. You know, if you were in some Swedish town somewhere, maybe. But here in South Africa, you've got zero dependability on your job. Tomorrow, it will be gone. Well, who's striking at the moment? Do you know who's striking at the moment? It happens so regularly, you've probably lost count. It's the water guys. The water guys have been turning water off around Gauteng the last week, breaking taps, breaking valves. These are people that they themselves depend on the water, but they're damaging the infrastructure that will bring the water to them. Why are they doing that? Well, because jobs are being lost even in government. What did we see just last month? They need to cut down on jobs at Eskom by something like 3 billion rand or something. How many jobs How many people to earn 3 billion? They're going to get rid of 30, 40, 50,000 people's worth of jobs. There's no dependability in your job. The other thing, of course, is you've got no control. You've heard me say it before. Can you increase your salary? Can you go into the job tomorrow and say, right, I need more money? No, but we've just had a 7% increase in VAT. You guys, and we've had 3 petrol price increases. I think prices have probably gone up by about 30% since the beginning of this year. As I said on one of my presentations, at the beginning of this year, to fill my wife's car was 1,000 rand. My wife filled up the other day. I got a message on my phone. When your petrol gets so expensive, the bank sends you a message. Then you know we've had too many petrol price increases. It's now 1,500 rand. That's a 50% increase in petrol since the 1st of January. You see, they say to you when they advertise, they say, we're going to increase petrol by 17 cents. You're like, 17 cents, that's all right. It's 17 cents a litre. Not 17 cents when you go to the petrol price at 17 cents more. No, it's 17 cents per litre. And we do not have control here in this environment. What are the cons? The cons of employment? Limited income offering. None of you are going to get rich off of it. None of you. Most of you will never even get to 30,000 rand a month. Most of you. I went and looked at the stats this week. I can tell you, I worked it out. 68% of South Africans will never get to 30,000 rand a month. That's 70% of our economy will never earn 30,000 rand a month. So you have a 70% chance of never getting to 30,000 rand a month. So you have a very limited income offering, no control over it, always less than inflation. They say, you know, we can give you an inflationary increase. No, they're not. If they say we gave you a 6% increase, inflation for you is not 6%. Inflation for the entire economy might be 6%, but for you and me on the ground, inflation is really running probably now at around 20% per annum. So unless you get a 20% increase, you are 16% poorer every year. Every year. No, but I need a job, Brendan. Okay. Slow but steady walk to poverty, survival mentality. Your job puts you in a position where all you do is survive each month. That's all you do. Hand to mouth each month. If anything in the month is unusual that happens, like someone passes away, or you got to pay school fees, or a disaster. And I know this. I've worked with employees my whole life. I know. It's a disaster when anything out of the ordinary happens. So that's the cons of having your own job, but we've got to have them, unfortunately, because they put the food in the table. Right, commission. Commission, most network marketing companies, call center agents, property agents, car salesmen, anybody working with a commission, okay? Pros, immediate income. That's what always attracts people. Come and join our network. You sell this product, and the moment you sell it, you get 450 rand. You're like, well, oh, that's awesome. Okay, great, I'll do it. Give me the 4,000 rand starter kit, and I'll go start selling. Low barrier to entry, generally cheap enough for most people to get in. Okay, generally cheap enough. Most of you know it. You've been involved. Long Rich, Forever Living, you know, Amway, Golden Products, Tupperware. Some of those are completely legitimate. Some of them are not. But even if it's legitimate, you know the attraction is I can quickly supplement my income. I can quickly do it. And it's only going to cost me 3,000 rand. No problem. I'm in. You see, it's the quick attraction to it. Same with property agents and car salesmen. You mean if I sell a car, I get 10,000 rand? 10,000, awesome, I'm in. You know, that sort of thing. It's the immediate income attraction, but it requires you to sell. And how many people have I had through the doors here at DuePoint who've said to me, I don't like selling, I don't want to sell? The vast majority of us are not salespeople. We're no good at it. There are some people who are excellent salespeople, but most of us are not. And people forget that. You're going to join this thing. You've got to be a salesperson if you're going to sell a pot to the same person every month. You've got to be able to repaint that pot in their mind every single month if you want to create that constant income from that commission. Okay. Product-based opportunities. You're always dragging stuff around with you. Or you're not. Okay. If you were some of the illegitimate ones, you tear the tag off the side, you'll see it's from Checkers underneath. Even from last year Checkers, not even this year Checkers, you know. That's all. If it's for a legitimate company, it's still boxes of stuff that's in your garage, it's in your car. Who was telling me? Zacchaeus was telling me from Nelspruit. He's been doing really well. You've seen him on a couple of our things up in Nelspruit. He was telling me his garage is still full with stock that he's bought from the other network marketing companies he's been to. They're still sitting there because he can't sell it. He can't move it. But it is product-based. Ongoing upfront capital. You've got to keep buying it. That's the problem when you're dealing with any kind of form of commission generally. You've got to buy first before you can sell. Okay, so you're in a loss-making position before you start. What's the biggest complaint? If you go into YouTube and you look up, people who are disgruntled with Amway or Golden Products or Tupperware, they'll say, you lose money in these things. Well, how do you lose it? Because you buy the stock and you're never able to sell it. That's where the loss occurs, okay? Lots of time required. Lots of time required. You guys would know. If you're going to sell someone a product, it's not a 5-minute conversation. You've got to tell them about all the benefits of every one of those products, man. You've got to know it. You need to get licensed on the thing before you can do it. So lots and lots of time. So people think, no, I'm going to do this part-time. No. You need lots of time. Lots of time if you're going to be selling products. You've got to do lots of traveling. You need to be able to store it. And it only ever creates transactional cash. Transactional cash is when you sell, you get the money. But next month, if you don't sell, you don't get any money. Go and talk to the car salesman. Down here on Main Road, there used to be the big Lamborghini Bentley dealership. It's closed down. Now, I've got a good friend who was good friends with the 2 sales guys there. Lost their jobs. No more Lamborghini. Gone. No annuity income. They made money when they sold, and now they're not selling. They're making no money. That is not wealth, guys. That is not wealth. It is transactional cash that never changes your personal economic position. And you start from zero every month. When it comes to commission, you're on zero on day one every single month. You never create anything. You want to talk about zero equity? You talk to Rob. Rob ran his own business for 15 years. And he'll tell you they were very successful. They did the Investec brand. He knows everybody. You talk to MasterCard brand. They did all the big brands. And he said, Brendan, at the beginning of every month, we had zero value in our business. Zero. And we went and we started again for 15 years. How long are you going to start at zero every month for? How long? If you're in the commission space, that's what's happened. Start your own business. Oh, awesome. Excellent. Pros. If you succeed, lottery win. You build a big business. Steve Bezos. Tim was telling me, he's reading an article about him yesterday. Steve Bezos, this week, starter of Amazon.com. Okay? Started it in 1990. I think they launched 1991. So it's the best part of 30 years old now. Last week, in one day, they made $4 billion worth of sales. $4 billion. Guys, that's, I want to say 40, it's not, it's like 60 billion rand in one day. That's like our whole GDP in one day. Okay? In one day. He's worth 150 billion US dollars. Okay? Fantastic. You win, you really win. Okay? Pursue your passion. If you've got a passion, if you've got a dream, if you've got an idea, it gives you the opportunity to pursue it if you start your own business. Fantastic. That's the pros. What are the cons of starting your own business? I'm a professional at this. I can tell you the list of pros. I've in fact had to shorten the list, otherwise you would have been crying by the end. Okay. Here are the cons. First of all, I don't know, you need an idea. You need an idea. What business are you going to start? No, I'm going to start a corner cafe, but there's 10,000 corner cafes. Now I want to start a new insurance company. Well, there's already 60, 70 insurance companies. How are you going to compete? You need an idea. And you know what the problem is? We generally don't have ideas. It's very hard to have a good idea. Very hard. I've been doing this a long time. I'll tell you that I've had 2 ideas in 20 years. You're seeing one of them right now. It is to have an idea that will compete, that will come and start a car wash. Everybody's got a car wash. Why would you then succeed? Where's the idea that's going to make you rich? Most ideas won't. You need the money to get started. You cannot just start a business. Look at this business. Look at this. Have you got the money to fit out an office? To pay staff salary when there's no profit coming in? To pay your own salary? I've got it down here. Abandon your day job. You can't run a business on the side. You can run a network on the side. You can't run a business on the side. It's either full-time or no time. So you lose your income from your job, and you've got to pay and pay and pay until it becomes profitable. My father used to, he was a professor at Wits for 25 years, and he used to say to people, your company has to go profitable as fast as you can. And he used to have people come into him and say, but I don't understand. Why can't you just run at a loss for a while? My dad looked at him and said, well, who's putting their hand in their pocket and pulling the money out to bridge the loss? You see, a loss is not an accounting term. A loss is where money has come out of your bank account. If there's no money in your bank account when the loss hits you, who's putting the money in to cover it? Have you guys got bank balances that can handle starting a business? Don't look at me like that. I'm not trying to be funny. You know you don't. starting a business is not something the average person will ever get to do. They simply don't have it. How much money did it take to start Microsoft? Nobody knows this. Everybody thinks Bill Gates built it from scratch. It didn't. His father lent him 48 million US dollars. 48 million. That's 500. That's $500 million rand. That's how much it cost to start Microsoft. $500 million rand. You know, you don't just start businesses that succeed like that. You've got to have the capital to run it. Okay. Knowledge. You've got to know the industry you're going to go into. How many of you are experts in the industry that you're in? Profitability time frame. I went and looked it up again. We always say 9 out of 10 companies fail. It's not quite true. In the first 5 years, 50% of companies that launch fail. Okay? They fail because they don't have the capital and they've got a bad idea. That's the two things. Okay? After 10 years, 70% of businesses have failed. Generally because they've run out of capital, even if they had a good idea. So you've got a good idea business, but you can't make it succeed because you don't have enough money to run it to profitability. Average time frame to profitability, 10 years. You will run at a loss for 10 years on average. Have you got enough capital in your bank account right now to not have a job and to pay for the construction of your business for 10 years before it starts paying you back? Okay, those are the cons of running a business. I know them very well. All right, so that's your own business. Opportunity number 2. This was the one that straddled active and passive investments. Let's talk about investments. All right? Warren Buffett says, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. This was the thing I want you to remember. A long time ago. This is the second richest man in the world, Warren Buffett. If you've never met him, go onto YouTube, watch his clips. He is a professional investor. That's how he's made his wealth. He is now known as basically the greatest investor of all time. And he has made himself the second wealthiest man on earth as a result of it. And he says, long time. Okay, long time. All right. So, those of you who do Forex trading, got suckered into buying a 15,000 Rand piece of software to do Forex trading? Hands up in the room, 60% of you. I know, I went through the Facebook page this morning looking at all the thumbnails, and I must have picked up at least 5. Forex trading, Forex this, Forex that. Okay, people have told you you're going to make yourself rich off of Forex trading. You totally can, but you won't, because you need years of experience. You need to have been through huge amounts of training. You need to understand global economies. They just took your 15,000 Rand. That's all they did. Okay? It doesn't work like that. Stock market trading. What's good about it? Well, you get both capital growth and dividend growth. So instead, if you put your money in a bank account, they just give you interest. When you buy shares in a business, over time the value of the business rises. So you get that growth. And as they declare dividends out of their profits, it gets added to your investment. So you have what's called compounding growth when you invest successfully. Okay? You offset inflation. Effectively, I went and I looked again this week. In stock market investors that have stood the test of time have outperformed inflation every year, even with taxation. Okay, so it is offsetting your inflation. All right, it is the only way. Interest won't get you there. I'm going to show you in a minute. But that offsets your inflation. What are the cons? You need experience and knowledge. Really good friend of Robin mine was actually directly involved in one of the big Forex trading companies. And he said there that they put together 200 training videos. You know how we can't get people to watch training videos here at DuePoint? They put 200 training videos together. And he said it didn't matter how many packages they sold, they had less than 1% of people watch those training videos. And he says nobody made any money, ever, off of their packages because no one watched the training. You cannot succeed in investment without knowledge and experience. This is something that is just a rule. You will not succeed without it. It requires capital gain. None of you have got 100,000 Rand to just go and throw in the stock exchange. You don't have it. Most investment houses require at least 100,000, some of them 1,000,000 Rand before they'll start investing. We look at Capricorn Capital, the guys that actively manage our investment portfolio on our tax-free investment account. Okay, their rule is you need a minimum of 1,000,000 Rand to come in with them, and they're doing us at 100 Rand a month. Okay, but their normal rule, if you're an individual, is 1,000,000 Rand. You do not have capital. That's why 99% of South Africans do not invest in the stock exchange. Okay? Fees can be high. If you don't have experience and knowledge, you get robbed. Like everything else in life. Okay? Risk of loss in the short term. Most people are terrified of investing because normally the money goes down the next day. And we've had a chair at DuePoint. I had a lady call in 3 days in a row shouting at me. Every day my money's going down. I'm like, yeah, so just stick it out. Because a week from now, it'll go up 3 days in a row. The markets move like that. Some days they're down, some days they're up. It depends on what our politicians, what stupid things our politicians are saying. It's what we're doing on the ground, whether we're striking, whether we want to. It affects the value of our businesses. If we want our businesses to be more value, stop striking. Start getting serious about building our economy. Suddenly you'll see the prices going up. You know, we immediately are affecting the value of our businesses by our behavior in the economy. You can't shout at DuePoint and say, why is my money going down? Your money's going down, well, because of our behavior in the economy. Okay, but that is in the short term. When you track it over the long term, everything changes. Let's have a quick look. I pulled the Satrix. Satrix is top 40 companies in South Africa. The Satrix 40 was started in the year 2000. So we got nice data, 18 years of data. If you had been invested in the Satrix over the last 5 years, so that's 2018 to 2013, you would on average have had 11.27% growth in your income. How much are you getting in your bank account at the moment? 3%, maybe 5%. 3 to 5. If you had been invested without drawing your money out, leaving it sitting over the last 5 years, you would have made 11.27%. Okay? If you go and you look at the Satrix over the last 10 years, so from 2018 to 2008, it now includes the financial crisis. Do you remember the big stock exchange crash in the US and the end of the debt markets in the US and all of that jazz? It was the whole end of the world. Okay? You still would have got 8%. You still would have got 8%, you know, and it's 8.6%, still more than the 3 and the 5 you're getting in your bank account, okay? But if you had been invested for the last 18 years in it, without pulling your money out, you would have got 15.38%. You would have gone through the crisis, you would have gone through the rebuild. So you would have seen your money come down and then gone back up. And if I just took that point and that point with the valley in between, you would have had an average return of 15.38%. Okay. How many of you have got money invested? Like none of you. I know. That's why we're doing this lesson this morning. Okay. Because we've got to start building wealth. I'm going to show you how it ties in a moment. Okay. Average inflation over the last 20 years has been 6.28% for the entire economy. Okay. So you can see how this, even in the slump years, was beating inflation. Sure, you take tax off. If you take tax off of even that, it's close to 6%. So even when there was a crash, it was kind of equaling inflation. Your interest at 3 and 5% has been behind the inflation rate for the last 20 years. Your increases at work have been behind inflation for the last 20 years. So I went and I looked up graphs on our earning power. So not what we're earning, because what we're earning has increased, but what our earning power looks like. And our earning power has gradually and systematically been reducing since 1994. We now have less power with our money to buy than we had in 1994. You might earn 100,000 Rand today and you're only earning 10,000 in 1994, but your 10,000 is worth more than your 100,000 is today. You could have bought more for the 10,000. Yeah, we're not in a good space, but people have got blinkers on. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. All right. Let's take one more look here. So let's do some examples. I wanted to kind of put this in real life for you. So one of the things that we buy a lot, I'm always fighting with my helper at home about this, is she likes to buy furniture on debt. And I'm like, no, don't buy furniture. Okay, so we're going to look at if you went out to buy some furniture from Lewis, you know, or something like that, where you went and bought yourself some furniture. Three-year repayment period. I went onto their website, so I looked at a couple. 3-year repayment period, okay? So we're in 3. And then the other thing that we buy on debt, okay, is houses. 20-year repayment period. So I want to look at 3 years, and I want to look at 20. As we look at this, think of the furniture, think of the house. If you take 100 Rand a month and you invest it, okay? Access Wealth, ringing any bells? Okay? 100 Rand a month and you invest it, okay? Over 3 years, you will earn 1,000 Rand on top of what you put in, okay? So you're going to be putting in your 100, but on top of that, you'll earn, on average, 1,000 Rand, okay, extra. Your total after 3 years will be 4,500 Rand. So you would have put in 100 Rand a month. 1,000 would have been the growth on the investment. I didn't even include dividends. It's probably more. So I'm taking conservative, just the growth amount. You now have 4,500 rand. So what I laugh about is our client service ladies get phone calls where they get shouted at. Because the guy calls in and says, I want to withdraw my investments. He says, fine, you've got 256 rand. What? I've been here for years. I've been paying. No. You guys are crooks. You're taking my money. He says, but sir, you withdrew your balance 2 months ago. No, I've paid 2 months. How can it only be 256 rand? Well, remember, you're growing at about 11% at the moment. What's 11% on 100 rand? It's 11% per annum. So it's 1% a month. So you get 1 rand on 100 rand. You do. But watch how it's grown. Look after 3 years. You're on 4,500 rand and you got 1,000 bucks for free. 1,000 rand for free. Did you keep pulling your money out? No, you had to leave it. And that's what we see happening. Guys put their 324 and the next day they call, please withdraw my 100 rand. Next month, 324, please can I have my 100 rand? Do you know what the investment balance is sitting on? Naught. Then they call us and tell us we're crooks. Guys, that 100 rand you put in every month, don't touch it. It's only 100 rand. Leave it, and after 3 years, you'll be on 4.5. After 20 years, you will have earned an extra 136,000 rand. At 100 rand a month. After 20 years, the extra piece, the piece you get for free, would be on average 136,000 rand. Your balance will be on 160,000 rand. Off of 100 rand a month. Off of 100 rand a month. All right, what if you put in 1,000 rand a month? How many of you put in more than 100? Almost none of you. There are a few of you that have been putting in larger balances, and as a result, you've been earning more. Let's look at what happens if you put in 1,000 rand a month. After 3 years, you would have got 10,000 rand extra. Extra. Your balance would now be on 45,000 rand. So you would have put 35,000 rand in with your 1,000 rands going in each month, but you would have gained another 10,000 rand. Passive. Passive. You didn't have to do anything to get that 10,000 rand. It came in anyway on your balance. If you do it for 20 years, that 1,000 rand would have translated into a balance of 1.6 million rand. And you would have gained 1.3 million rand. How much did you put in? You put 300,000 rand in at 1,000 rand a month for 20 years. How much did you get? 1.36 million passive income. 1.36 million off of 1,000 rand a month. Did you withdraw the 1,000 rand at any point in time? No. You left it and you let it run for 20 years. And you are on 1.6 million rand. Now, the vast majority of South Africans are just never going to do this, are they? No. For the cost of 1,000 rand a month, the vast majority of South Africans are never going to see wealth. They're never going to see it. Because in the month they go, give me my 100 rand back. Give me my 100 rand back. Give me. And then they go, no, the government must. And we must go take the money from the rich people. And we must and must and must and must. When all we need to do is 100 rand or 1,000 rand every month. You see, this lesson is not taught to the vast majority of South Africans. They look at the people with all the money and they go, it's not fair. No, it's good decisions versus bad decisions. It's hard decisions versus easy decisions. That's all it is. All right. Passive income. That's our last category. Remember? Active, investments, passive. This is the last way. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. That's the second richest man in the world talking to you. You will work until you die unless you find a way to make money while you sleep. Okay. Rental income. This is my favorite one because I think it's a fallacy in South Africa, but nonetheless. What is the annuity income is the pro. You've got 10 properties. Everyone's paying rental income to you. You've got income coming in every month. Great. Market appreciation. You get the value of the land increasing in price over time. You bought it for 1 million rand. You sell it for 1.5 10 years later. And it creates further leverage for you. When you've got assets, the bank is willing to lend you money. That's what leverage is. If somebody talks about leverage, it's your ability to take what you have and borrow against it. When you've got properties, the bank will lend you money. When you've got nothing, the bank won't lend you money. Isn't that a sad irony? When you need the money, they don't give it to you. When you don't need the money, then they'll give you plenty. All right, great. Cons. You need the money to buy the property. Hands up who can go out and buy 10 properties quickly. Yeah? There's like 5 of us, okay, in the whole country. You know, But the vast majority of us do not have the money to buy the property. So immediately that's lined through rental income, gone. Okay? It requires it. Administration, nightmare. It is a nightmare. You have to find tenants. Tenants come in. They then don't pay and they don't leave. Now there's rules that say you can't kick them out. Why? Nobody knows. We just want to devalue our economy. That's why we pass rules like this. Okay? So you can't get rid of them. Then they tear your house down. Then they burn it. Then they steal all the fittings and take the basins and plumbing with them when they leave. It is a complete nightmare being a landlord. Maintenance, you have to. This is what drives me mad as well. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. But as South Africans, we do not maintain what we have. You see it. The guy buys his brand new Rolls Royce. We see it here, Brian. And a few weeks later, the thing's smoking and bashed up and finished. And he sells it for nothing. He's blown 2 million rand on that car, and it's gone, 3 million rand, and it's gone. And all he needed to do was just keep maintaining it, and it would have had value forever. The same with rental properties. No one's going to rent a bashed up, worn out house. You need to spend the money you're earning that's coming in on maintenance. It needs to flow back in to maintain the property value. And of course, in South Africa, we don't get market appreciation. We get market depreciation. I know, the house I live in, I bought 15 years ago. I can sell it for the same price I bought it for 15 years ago. There has been zero capital appreciation in South Africa for the last 15 years. So you're not even getting capital appreciation. So for me, the vast majority of South Africans' rental income is just not an option. It's just not. All right, interest. Now, interest is something that we all actually are using. We use it the wrong way, but it is something that we're all using. Einstein, I've paraphrased his quote here, but Einstein, everybody know Einstein? The theory of relativity equals E equals mc squared. There are those who earn it, compound interest, and those who pay it. I've got a feeling that most of you guys are sitting right there, are you not? Those who pay it. It is a very powerful tool. Who are you? All right, let's have a quick look. Those who pay it, let's buy a house. You guys need to understand it because you are actually in this. This is where all of you are this morning. Let's look at the 20-year example on the house. You pay R1 million for a house. Most of you want a house, I know. And these days to buy R1 million house is like buying just a normal house. It's entry level these days. It's crazy how expensive things are. R1 million for the house, you're going to get at best prime plus 2. First time home buyer for sure, prime plus 2. That's 12% at the moment. Okay, 12% interest. All right, it's going to be 20 years of repaying that amount. For R1 million. They're going to make you pay it for 20 years. By the time you have finished paying, you will have paid 2.64 million. You bought a R1 million house, the bank will make you pay 2.6 million rand for that house. Do you guys realize this? That's 2.5 times the value. It's 164%. Your interest on that million over the 20 years will be 1.6 million rand. You will pay 60% more than the value of the house in interest. In interest alone, 1.6 million in interest. As I said, that's 164% of the value of the property is what you'll pay in interest. You're going to pay 2.5 times the price of that car. Is it worth buying on debt? No, but you guys are professional debtors, though. You are. You buy everything on debt, don't you? Everything. Do you realize how much more you are paying when you buy it on debt? 260%. 260%. All right. Okay, let's look at furniture. Because maybe you're not in the market for buying houses. Maybe you're just in the market for buying furniture. This is the one where I fight with my helper on it. We go out, we buy ourselves a 10,000 rand set of furniture. Okay, I just needed a round number. 10,000 rands worth of furniture. We go there. I went to the websites. They're all quoting prime plus 12. So I took 2% off and I made it prime plus 10. That's 20% interest. That's what you pay on furniture. You, in fact, are paying 22% interest, okay, per annum on it. Payment period 3 years generally on furniture that I could see. That means that after 3 years, you will have paid 13,379 rand on your 10,000 rand furniture. That's 34% more than the value of the furniture you will have paid. The interest is nearly 3,500 rand on your 10,000 rand. Just think about what could you buy as extra furniture for 3,500 rand when you've paid that to buy the 10,000 rand furniture over that period of time. 33.79% in interest alone on that. It's mad what's happening. We are on the wrong end of the stick and we need to turn it around. We need to turn it around. Now, what happens if we do the other way? What happens if instead of buying the furniture, we keep the money in the bank? That's it. Just in the bank, okay? So I went out and I looked at the bank rates on a whole lot of different bank accounts. It looks like your best Your best interest under 100,000 Rand is about 5%. That's if you're lucky. You generally would have had to have a good salary. You would have had to be with a bank for a long time, etc. They'll give you 5% on less than 100,000 Rand balance. So I used 5% on a 10,000 Rand. I took your best. This is your best outcome. You got 10,000 Rand in the bank for 3 years or 20 years. The furniture or the house. What is the result if instead of spending it, we kept it in the bank? The hard decision. Okay? We keep it in the bank. After 3 years, we would have 11,000. So we would have gained another 1,614 Rand for free. Okay? 20 years, we'd be on 27,000 Rand. We would have 17,000 Rand more value if we hadn't spent it. We just left it in the bank. Okay. All right. Now, that means, yeah, interest of 17. So now I want to jump over to here. What happens if we took that million Rand we were going to spend on the house? I want to show you the compound effect of interest. If we kept that million Rand, 7.5% is the best interest you can get at the moment on a balance greater than million Rand. Okay? 7.5% for 3 years or 20 years. You leave it in the bank, you'd be sitting after 3 years with 1.25 million. That means that you would have earned 251,000 Rand in interest in 3 years. 250,000 Rand in interest in 3 years. If you'd left it in for 20 years, you would be sitting on 4.4 million. You started with 1 million. 20 years later, you're on 4.4 million. That means you've earned 3.4 million in interest. Let's put this the other way around. How much did the house cost you? It cost you 2.6 million in interest. If you left the money in the bank, you'd be on 3.4 million now. In fact, you'd be on 4.4 million. So you spent 2.6, or you have a balance now of 4.4 20 years later. If you leave your money in the bank account. How many of you leave a positive balance in your bank account each month? How many? No, naught. Every month, naught. And these years pass and you don't get there, ever. All right. Now, let's look at the annuity income. Annuity income on that million Rand now, after 20 years, you'd be earning 14,000 Rand a month in interest. Every month, 14 grand would be coming in on that balance. Crazy. All right. So let's take a look at it. Who's paying? I want to do a quick comparison. 10,000 Rand borrowed, you're going to spend an extra 3,000 paying the interest off. Million Rand borrowed, you're going to spend an extra 1.6 million on that. Okay, let's compare that to those who have now invested their money in the bank, just invested in the bank, just cash in the bank. Okay, after 3 years, you've earned an extra 1,600. You paid 3.3, or you earned 1.6. You see how the bank is killing you in the short term. In the short term, you're getting killed. Okay, so when you're buying furniture and that, you are getting killed. When you buy clothing on loan, food on debt, when you buy any, you're getting killed in the short term. All right. In the long term, we look at keeping that million Rand in the bank. You would have earned 3.4 million. If you had borrowed it, you would have paid an extra 1.6. Look at the compounding effect. You go up this way. Here, the bank doesn't give you anything. The bank doesn't want to give you leverage on your property. They're losing. They're losing. People say, no, I want to keep my money in my bank because I get the most gain. I mean, in my loan, my home loan, because I get the most gain. No, that's nonsense. Where you get capital gain in the US or in Australia, maybe you could add your capital gain to this. But there is zero capital gain in South Africa, which means that you've lost half the value by putting your money in your home loan. It's the reality in South Africa. Money in a home loan is loss-making money. Money in the bank account at the moment is better. You can take tax off of that, you'll still beat that number. And most of you don't pay tax, so it wouldn't be there. All right. And I'm not meaning that condescendingly. You're below the tax thresholds. Where does DuePoint fit in then? All right. So where do we fit into those three categories? Active, straddling, or passive? Well, we fit into passive. We are the passive income makers here. What are the pros? Low risk. There's in fact no risk, but Rob wouldn't let me put it there. There is no risk at DuePoint. I don't take your money. We don't take your money. There is zero risk at DuePoint. You're not losing anything by being a wealth engineer at DuePoint. No experience required. You don't have to know how to do this business. To be an investor, you need knowledge and experience. Remember, you don't have to be an expert in your sales field. There is no experience required. We create annuity income. It's the income that's there every month. Every month. You don't go back and sell the pot again. You don't have to sell the car again. The money is in. Little to no administration. Really, what administration have you guys got as wealth engineers? What do you got? It's all in your phone, okay? Leverage without risk. Rob's always talking about this. He says you get to lever. You get to remember, I say leverage means borrow against. You get to borrow against people without actually physically having to borrow from them. We give you leverage with no risk. Little to no capital, 249 Rand a month. 249 Rand a month, that's all you pay. You don't need an office, you don't need staff, so if you wanted to start your own business, no staff, no office, no costs, no anything. No anything in this. Cons. What are the two things that it's going to require? It requires the two things you're unwilling to give me. It requires time and it requires perseverance. That's what it requires. You won't hear it. You won't hear it. You sit in the presentations at DuePoint and people won't hear it. I say to them, guys, it's 5 years plus. And you go, Brendan, I know you said it was 5 years, but I thought it would be faster for me. Why would it be faster for you? What did old Steve Bezos, what's the other guy's name? I've gone blank now. Buffett, Warren Buffett, flip. What did Warren Buffett say? He says, a long time. A long time. Okay. I'm saying time. That's what's required, and we give you all of that. Let's take a quick glance. You know our 3 plus 2 formula? This is passive income 101 at DuePoint. We built this model with all the knowledge that I have about this industry. We say after a year, you'll be on 9,000 Rand a month. Do you know what you'd need in order to earn 9,000 Rand a month in interest or in growth in your investment? Okay? You'd need 1.4 million Rand in the bank in order for you to get 9,000 Rand a month in interest. Okay? And that's if you got the maximum 7.5. If you only got 5%, that number goes up to close to 2 million. All right. Any of you got a 1.4 million Rand cash balance right now? No. So now if you spend 1 year with me and we get you to 9,000 Rand a month, do you know what that 9,000 Rand a month is worth? 1.4 million Rand in the bank. That's what it's worth. If you had it invested, it would be about 750,000 Rand because you get a slightly higher return on that one. Okay? So now you say to yourself, I'm only earning 2,500 Rand. This is rubbish. Longridge promised me 50,000 Rand a month after 90 days. Do you know how much 2,500 Rand is worth? I worked it out. It's the equivalent to 400,000 Rand in the bank. Have you got 400,000 Rand in the bank? No. When you are earning 2,500 Rand a month every month without having to do anything, it's the same as having 400,000 Rand in the bank. At 9,000, it's worth 1.5 million Rand. Let's look at year number 2. We said in 2 years with us, if you can give us 2 years, we can get you to 27,000 Rand a month. At 27,000 Rand a month, it's the same as having 4.3 million Rand in the bank or 2.1 million invested. Who's got 4.3 million in the bank? Are you going to have 4.3 million in the bank in the next 24 months? No. But that's what we make here. But when they say, I'll give you 450 Rand for the pot, and I'll give you a 1.5 million Rand house and a 3 million Rand house, and they never deliver anything, they take your money, you all run there. Run to the shiny thing. And we're saying, time. 2 years with us. And we will build you an equivalent asset of 4.3 million Rand because every month you'll get your 27,000 Rand coming in. After 3 years. 3 years we said you'd be on about 45,000 Rand with us. Do you remember that? 45,000 Rand. That's the same as having 7.2 million Rand in the bank. If you're going to earn interest on 7.2 million Rand, you'd get 45,000 Rand a month out of it. All right. Then, after 4 years, we said 60,000 Rand a month is what you'd get at 3 plus 2. That's it, just 3 plus 2. All right, you'd be plus minus on that. That's the same as having a nearly 10 million Rand in the bank. 4 years. Any of you going to have 10 million Rand in the bank in the next 4 years? But we can get you there. We can get you to the equivalent. We can get you to the earnings portion in 4 years. In 5 years, we said you'd be on 80 to 100,000. All right, we say it every presentation. That's the same as having 13 million Rand in the bank. Because if you had 13 million, they'd pay you 80 grand a month. All right. You're starting to see how this all works now. This is how the economy works. It's not magic. We're not hiding stuff. This is just maths. That's how it works. What we are doing at DuePoint is we are creating incredible leverage. Incredible leverage. But we require perseverance, determination, and time. That's what we require here. All right. We can, at the end of the day, win the lottery. I get it a lot. People go, look around. You've all got lottery tickets in your wallets. Now, the lottery, I don't know if you guys know this, but the lottery is a tax for the poor. I don't know if you know that. They went, how do we get tax from poor people in South Africa without actually taxing them, without saying this is the tax? You know what? We'll start a lottery. Because you know what your chances of winning the lottery are? 1 in 20 million. There it is there. 1 in 20,358,520. These are the things that are going to happen to you before you win the lottery. Okay? You're going to be hit by lightning 4 times. Not once, 4 times. All right? You're going to win an Oscar. You are going to win an Oscar. It will happen before you win the lottery. So if we didn't have like a time frame of our life, if you could live to 500 years, you'd win an Oscar before you won the lottery. Okay? You will become a gold medal Olympian before you win the lottery. You will be hit by part of a plane falling from the sky. Okay? You will die from being left-handed and using a right-handed product incorrectly. You will be hit and crushed by a meteor before you win the lottery. Okay? You will die in an airplane crash 10 times. You will die in an airplane crash 10 times before you win the lottery. And you will date a supermodel 20 different times. 20 different times. Both men and women. So now tell me, ladies and gentlemen, why do you go to the cafe and put your money in there? You are happily being taxed. They're taking your money and you get nothing for it. Nothing for it. Understand the economics. Understand it. All right. So, folks, rule number 2, spend less than you earn. This is a discipline question. Do not save what is left after spending. Rather, spend what is left after saving. You have to change your psychology now. You have to start spending less than you earn. Okay? You either increase your earnings until you're covering your costs, or you reduce your costs until your earnings are more. You've got 2 switches, 2 dials there. Okay? Compounding good versus compounding bad decisions. You need to understand this principle, guys. Compounding good decisions means that every day you make small good decisions. You see, if you make a small bad decision, there's very little consequence. But if you continue to make small bad decisions, it bends your path down a very dark alley. And all of a sudden you find yourself in the circumstances you may be in today that are very bad. It's not because you made one bad decision. It's because you made lots of little bad decisions. The same, those that are doing very well today have made lots of little good decisions along the way. Some of those good decisions are saving a little bit. 100 Rand a month. 100 Rand a month. That 100 Rand and not withdrawing it is a good decision. The 100 Rand and withdrawing it every month is a bad decision. Doesn't have a big consequence in the short term, but in the long term, you saw how that compounded. Okay. Prepare your own meals. Don't buy food. Don't go out to restaurants and fast food and chicken licking and that. Prepare your own food. It's cheaper. It's always cheaper to prepare your own food. Entertain inexpensively. All I ever see are these massive parties being held by celebrities and socialites in this country of ours. Money taken from us and spent frivolously on parties. But you could be in the same position. You could be entertaining too expensively. Entertain cheaply so that you don't lose money. Look after what you have. We need to become a society of maintenance. Do not buy something, wear it out. Buy it and maintain it. Maintenance costs a lot less than buying something new the whole time. Maintain what you have. Make it last long. Bad decisions. Borrowing. Borrowing is always a bad decision. It's always. Even if it's little. I'm just going to borrow a little for the shirt. That's a bad decision. You end up paying 34% more for the shirt than you should have. It's a bad decision. Buying food and drink at work. Bad idea. Go home and work out how much you spend on buying food at work. Prepare your food the night before and take it with you. It's cheaper than buying the food at work. Going out on weekends. If you go out every night, every weekend, you are killing your money. Killing it. Absolutely killing it. And then we've got buying new things. Like I said, let's change to a society of maintenance rather than a society of consumption. So, I was teaching this lesson to my children at age 8 and 10. And they said, but Dad, how do we know when it's a good decision and how do we know when it's a bad decision? They're only 10 and 8. And I said to them, because the good decisions are always hard decisions. When your friends are going, try this drug, try this alcohol, and you're going, and if you don't, you're a sissy and you're a baby and you're this and you're that, it's hard to say no. because you want to be popular and you want to be in with your friends and you want to be cool, you know that's the bad decision. The moment it's easy to do the bad thing, you know it's the bad decision. The moment you know it's hard, you're going, but I want to do this, but I shouldn't, but I want to, you know now that you need to be turning away. The moment the decision is hard, you know that that's the right decision to be making, the good decision. That is your rule of thumb. Hard decisions are good decisions. Discipline is what it all comes down to. You've heard it said before, financial discipline. Discipline is something we do not have in South Africa. I've said it to you before. We have no self-discipline. What do we do when we're unhappy with our salaries? We go and burn buildings down. Do you know who does that? My 3-year-old used to do that. When he couldn't get what he wanted, he used to go and throw tantrums. The only thing is, I came down and beat the crap out of him, and he doesn't throw any more tantrums anymore. Okay? Because I wanted him to grow up. Discipline makes us rich. Ill discipline makes us poor. That's what it does. Discipline. Consumerism versus conservatism. The economy wants you to be buying, doesn't it? Adverts, billboards, supermodels. And you're like, I want to be like that. I must go spend my money. You've got to be conservative. We in South Africa particularly have got to become conservative. When they say, join our network and buy your status. Buy silver status for $90 US. Buy gold status for $12,000. Buy platinum status for $40,000. I want to be platinum. I want an email with my picture with a platinum frame around it that says platinum distributor. I want that. I will spend the 50,000 Rand doing it. Good decisions versus bad decisions. What decision do we ask you to make here in DuePoint? We say, we're not going to take your money, so it's not a decision about that. We need your time. And you go, oh, I don't want to spend my time. I need to be rich quickly. Do you feel how that's hard? As soon as you feel it's hard, you know it's right. You know it's right. And so the decision is, I need to spend time because I want to be wealthy. I want to be wealthy. I don't want to be poor anymore. Do you really know how much you spend each month and on what? You've got to ask yourselves those questions now. You need a budget. Have you got a budget? People say, I don't know how to do a budget. It's really simple. This is what a budget looks like. This is how much you make, whatever money you're making. Okay? This is how much you spend. You've got to spend a certain amount of rent. You've got to spend a certain amount of food. Just list your expenses. Am I spending it on food at work, coffee, transport? Just put it all in, clink, 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 and then deduct it from the total that you bring in each month. And work out whether you're saving or spending. That's your budget. But this is a very powerful tool, because do you know right now whether this is positive or negative? Do you actually know? Personally, do I spend more every month or do I spend less? You have got to have a budget. You have got to have an income and expenses. It's so simple, guys. It is a simple discipline. Oh, but I don't want to do that. It's going to take time and it's boring. Oh, hang on. That feels hard. That's the right thing to be doing. Apply the rule every time. Build a budget. You'll be able to start building your wealth when you know how much you spend. Rule number 3, protect what you have. Insurance. I'm not doing this because I sell insurance. I'm doing this because it's common sense. Protect what you have. Insurance, you guys cannot afford to lose what you have. You cannot, whatever little you have, you know what a disaster it will be if you lose it. Am I right? What a disaster the little bit you have will it be if you lose it. If you own a car and that car disappears, it's gone forever. There's no new car coming back in. If you've got clothes and they're all stolen, there's no money to buy more clothes. You know what it is. You need to protect what you have. Insurance is not a grudge purchase. I hate that. Regulators say it, politicians say it, and the media say it. It's a lie. It's a lie. Insurance has never been a grudge purchase. Insurance is something I want. I understand it. I do. I've studied it long enough to know that insurance is what I want. Why? Because I'm at risk. I could die early or I could live too long. I could lose my assets. And therefore, I need insurance. I want it. Insurance is risk management. It's you managing your risk. What are the risks that we have? We need to protect your money. You don't want to lose your money. That needs to be protected. You do that through investments and insurance. We want to protect your family. Because you know when your family die, it costs you, doesn't it? You either lose your income that you were earning from them as the breadwinner, or you have to pay for their funeral and their debt. It costs you money, doesn't it? Okay? You need insurance against it. Assets, car, house, home, life. It costs you money when you lose them, when they get damaged. Protect what you have. This rule here, protect what you have, no one does. And that's why, as I said to you, even the guys you know who got rich suddenly got poor suddenly too. Because they forgot rule 3. Guys, you can't play soccer and only comply with 80% of the rules. You will lose every time, won't you? Because you'll be breaking the other 20% and they'll send you off the field and the other team will win. You cannot hope to become wealthy and only apply the first 2 rules. You have to apply rule number 3. You have to protect what you have here at DuePoint. Tax. Why is that under protect what you have? Because they take what you have. Do you know this? I don't think any of you are getting anything back, are you? You get very little back. They take what you need to protect yourself. Now, how do you protect yourself against tax? This is not now you go and structure some fancy thing offshore. No, it's you pay tax. Because if you pay tax, they take a lot less than if you don't pay tax. If you don't pay tax, they take everything. They take it all. Have you seen what's been going on in the newspaper this week? The guy who's founded Steinhoff, SARS has got him in court for 3.4 billion rand in outstanding tax. 3.4 billion! They take everything if you don't pay your tax. So what do you got to do? First of all, it's the law, get it paid. Second of all, risk additional penalties and interest if you don't pay it. DuePoint returns may be taxable. Whatever you're earning from us might be taxable if you breach the tax thresholds. Make sure you understand this. Go and get a tax person to help you on understanding. Because if it is, you are going to have to add it to your annual income and be taxed on it. It's your responsibility to disclose all forms of income to SARS. Are you disclosing every form of income? You might be going, no, I'm going to hide this, I'm going to hide that, so that they don't ever know, they'll never know. Until they know. Until they know. And then they take everything. Everything. Some of you have already felt the sting of that. I've spoken to you about it because they've come and taken everything from you. Okay? This tax season is open already. Are you guys registered for tax? Are you paying tax? Okay? DuePoint's return statements. We give you a statement every month on what your returns are from us. In your app, you go into your app, you click the menu button. It's the 3 little bars. You click under there, My Account. And then you click Channel Returns, and you'll see each month there's a statement, and then once a year for the tax season, we give you an annual statement. That annual statement is what you should be submitting with your income to SARS. You should be. I can't force you to, but I'm warning you that if you don't, they come and they take everything. Protect what you have by paying tax. Protect what you have. All right, DuePoint and the golden rules. I sat down. I wanted to do this business. Why? Because I understood everything I've told you, and I understood too that the average South African can do nothing other than their job. I understood that. So we built a system that now gets you into all of those categories of income. Rule number 1, create multiple sources of income. Number 2, spend less than you earn. Number 3, protect what you have. I started by building the Access Wealth product. Access Wealth gives you your own tax-free investment account. You now have an opportunity to passively create income for yourself through the investment account. Did you realize that? Did you realize that I opened up, or DuePoint opened up for you, an entire new form of income for you? Passive income through investments, through our Access Wealth plan. Okay? We then created the returns program for you, where every product payment in your channel will pay you 27.50 Rand multiplied by a factor, so that for the rest of your life, you could earn a passive income. Rewards in there as well. Cherries on the cake. All these extra sources of income for you. Spend less than you earn. We designed the Wealth Points Buyers Club so that you could go out and buy through our suppliers at lower prices and at better discounts and with better services, so that you could reduce your expenditure to bring it in line with your income. Did you know that? I'll bet you most of you have got one product. We built all of our products as a package to get this working. Okay, go out and get the wealth points. We then said returns as well. If you can't bring your expenditure down, let's lift your income. The returns program. Lift your income, and we get you in the right position again. Protect what you have. Access Wealth, personal accident cover. Who needs personal accident cover? Well, only those who are worried about their income. If you're not worried about your income, don't worry about personal accident cover. You will die from an accident. The highest probability between 2 and 65 of dying from an accident. No, but I'm going to die from a disease. No, you're not. You're going to get shot, run over, car accident, taxi accident, shot or run over in a strike. Who knows? You're going to die from one of those. Your personal accident cover covers your family when they lose your income. We had the Wealth Guard, R1 million worth of personal accident cover, protecting what you've got. Family wealth, funeral cover plan, so that your family don't have to pay for funerals and you don't have to pay for funerals. Protecting what you've got. And then your channel. Your channel that you build with us is not only for you. It doesn't only do that. It becomes a legacy for your children. That means that when you pass away, they don't lose what they have. They gain what you built during your life. And so we tackle not only wealth during your life, we tackle wealth from generation to generation at DuePoint. Where else in South Africa are you offered this opportunity? Where today? Where today can you go? And yet, tens of thousands of South Africans are constantly falling for what the new shiny thing is on Facebook and the internet. The new shiny thing that just takes their money. Why are we doing that to ourselves, guys? Why do we do that? Tough questions this morning. That is Wealth Creation 101. I've told you everything you need to know. I have. You can go into all the special economics and blah, blah, blah. That's it. That's the fundamental principle. That's the principle. Those are your only options to create extra income, and those are the only 3 rules you need to apply to become wealthy in this life. Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, the founder of Amazon.com. You're the second richest guy in the world. Why doesn't everybody just copy you? He's talking to Warren Buffett, number 2. So number 1 richest is talking to number 2 richest. Why don't people do what you do, Warren? Nobody wants to get rich slow. The second richest guy in the world has got rich slowly. But when I talk to individuals here at DuePoint every night, they go, no, it's so hard, and it takes so long, and I give up, and I can't handle the people that don't do anything in my channel. And I go, my goodness, guys, I have created the easiest system in the world. Why don't you just copy it? Because I don't want to get rich slow. I told you this morning was going to be tough decisions. We have to grow up now as a nation. As a nation, we have to grow up. No one gets rich quickly. But we have all the capability, all of the capability we have here in this room and in this country to be the finest nation in the world. We do. We've got that. All you've got to do now is start doing the right things. All right. So, like everything in this world. 2 ingredients, guys. 2 ingredients. That's all it takes to become wealthy. So we said there's 3 rules, but there's just 2 ingredients to get wealthy. Rob did it like a box of ingredients, like a cake mix. He said, 1 serving of wealthy equals 5 years at DuePoint, time, and 3 plus 2 numbers. That's what it is. To get wealthy, you need 1 serving. 1 serving of wealthy, please. You're going to need 5 years plus with us at DuePoint, and you're going to need to be persistent and determined in putting people into your channel. That's what you're going to need. Okay, that's it. And then you are wealthy. Folks, Tuesday night, we're going to be talking about people making themselves wealthy here. We've got some great guys coming in, working in all circumstances, and what our theme is for Tuesday night. What our theme is for Tuesday night is slow and steady. Slow and steady. We're going to show you the guys that we often will put up somebody one a month that's shooting the lights up. We want to show you somebody like in 18 months is earning 20,000 rand. This week and this month, we want to show you the guys that are building it slow and steady. Slow and steady. That's this Tuesday night at 6:30 to show you what proper wealth creation is about. Make sure you're here. How many of you am I going to see here on Tuesday night? Yeah? 1, 2, 3. What about the rest of you? None of you putting your hands up. Are you not interested? Do you not want to create wealth? Come and watch guys doing it so you can learn how to do it. How many of you watching today around the country are going to be watching with us at 6:30 on Tuesday night? How long will we wait? Because, it's going to take time to get wealthy. But while you're doing nothing, you're adding time to that process, or you're not. You're adding time to that process. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've learned something this morning. I hope I wasn't too hard, but I am very determined. You know that. I'm very determined to create DuePoint in the lives of every South African. I want that tool to be built in them. In the next 20 years, DuePoint will change the way economics are done in Africa. In Africa, over the next 20 years. We'll change the way, because up until now, everybody's been failing us. They've been failing us. Now we want to start winning. We want to start winning. Now that you've got the basic principles, get out there and start making some money.